we talk is money, honey. All we talk is money. All we talk is money. It's like beans to the honey. Honey, money, honey, money, honey. It's the SOSCAST, baby.
All right. Welcome, everybody. Everyone looking good, feeling good.
We're all
Welcome,
meshing.
everybody out there in internet land. Welcome to the SOSCAST on Valuetainment. I'm your host, Adam Sosnick. Great show prepared for you guys today. I'm surrounded by women. I don't know if it's like a Mother's Day hangover. We got Nat on my right,
Hello.
Amy on my left, clowns to the right of me, jokers to my left. Here I am, stuck in the middle with you. We also got Alejandra in the house.
Woo-hoo.
Say hi. Hola, ¿cómo estás, Alejandra? Guys, I promise you, I'm not always surrounded by women. There's tons of guys here. We got Alejandro, we got Jeremy, we got Andres. There's people here. Giving them a shout out. We also got PBD, we got Vinny, we got Tom.
We got Denise.
We got New Girl Denise, but that's besides the point. Welcome to SOSCAST. A lot of stories to cover, rapid fire. Maybe I took a little too much espresso. Thank you for my Colombian friend, for the cafecitos. We're talking culture, we're talking politics, we're talking relationships, we're talking follow the money, we're talking everyone's favorite subject, cancel culture and racism and identity politics.
Oh.
Who doesn't love that these days?
Yeah.
So fun.
So much fun. Here's some of the topics we'll talk about, and we'll get right into today's show. Vivek, he was on the PBD Podcast yesterday. We'll show that in a second. Is Vivek too brown to be president? Natalia,
No.
I mean,
No
you're a
such
beautiful
thing.
brown woman. We're going to have to hear your thoughts on this.
We love the brown.
We love the brown. If it ain't brown, you got to get down. I don't know. You got to get it going on.
You had a good one yesterday.
So we'll have a conversation about that. That's number one. Number two, can Gen Z take a joke? Right? My young people out there, especially the lefties,
Yeah.
do you know what funny is anymore? Jerry Seinfeld has a couple things to say about that. And we'll go over the funniest movies of all time and a shocking stat that you'll be surprised with, or maybe you won't. Trump on trial, hush money, Michael Cohen, Stormy Daniels, but Trump has a secret weapon. You've heard of this person before, but did you know some of the stats we're going to tell you today? Trump's secret weapon, and Bill Maher actually sort of defends Trump. He's been accused of having Trump derangement syndrome. We'll discuss that, Trump's secret weapon, and last but not least, Trump and Hillary agree on a few things, namely what's going on in the Middle East, especially what's going on with these campus protests these days. Trump and Hillary agreeing? What does the world come to? And that will be part of our happy ending. With that being said, let's start the show. To my left, Amy Dangerfield in the house. She's got a YouTube channel entitled
Amy Dangerfield. Super easy.
Amy Dangerfield. There
Remember,
it was.
guys, we're going to be doing super chats today. So feel free to interact with us. Also ask questions about these stories. Just keep it super brief because it is a tight run show today. But we will be reading all super chats, even if we only receive one. Even if you have something critical to say, we will be reading all super chats.
Got a girl. And then to my right, to your left, if you're watching on screen, the brown bombshell, Natalia Devay is in the
Hello.
house.
Hi, everyone. Happy SOSCAST Day. Make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe. Today's going to be a really fun episode. I think some of the stories even Amy and I haven't talked about yet, so you guys get to have a nice reaction when it comes down to it. So make sure you guys subscribe, like, do all those fun things. And let's get this party started.
All right, let's get this show started. So Vivek Ramaswamy. I talked to him about that a little bit yesterday on the PBD Podcast. I think we have a picture that we took after the show of PBD. Vivek, myself, Tom the Biz Doc, and Vinny out there had a great time with Vivek. What you don't know behind the scenes, and there's a dirty little secret. Vivek forgot his jacket on the plane, and we had to give him a jacket, so that's actually a borrowed jacket right there. But he made news this week for some of the weirder reasons from a lady that's been on the PBD Podcast, Ann Coulter. And she actually questioned if Americans should vote for Vivek. Why? Because he's a brown Indian dude. Say what? Ann Coulter tells Vivek Ramaswamy she wouldn't vote for him because you're an Indian. Straight to his face. You've seen the movie Hangover? In his face!
Yes.
She said it right to his face. And it was like, whoa. She said the quiet part out loud.
That's all right, the
And I'll give you my take on what I remember vividly from Ann Coulter's appearance on the PBD podcast. This was 6 months ago or so. And then a little fun fact about who she used to date. That's like, what are you talking about? You're part of Team Brown. Have you seen any of the PBD podcast of what Vivek was on? And do you know this clip?
Nope.
Love it.
I've seen it.
So Team Brown representing, Natalia has seen it.
Team Brown.
Team Aussie, Amy has not seen it. Let's play this clip of when Ann Coulter was on Vivek's podcast just earlier this week. Check this out.
Audio?
It's Ann Coulter. So Ann, thanks for coming on, and I'm looking forward to our conversation today.
Me too. Thanks for having me. That was a fantastic opening monologue.
Yeah.
I too am a fan of yours. I'm going to make a point of disagreeing with you so that it will be fun.
Yeah.
You are so bright and articulate, and I guess I can call you articulate since you're not an American black. Can't say that about them. That's derogatory. And that was a great opening segment. Lots of things to talk about there. Oh, and I agreed with many things you said during, in fact, probably more than most other candidates when you were running for president. But I still would not have voted for you. Because you're an Indian. We'll get back to that.
I mean, bang, bang, bang. Just a
Literally.
couple of racist, a little racial epithets right there. A little, I wouldn't vote you, Jew, because you're brown, you're Muslim, you're Hindu, you're this, you're that. All right. By the way, the blacks will throw one in there for you as well. Ann Coulter.
Yeah.
Holy moly. So I've got some thoughts on this, but I want to hear from the ladies. Now, you haven't seen any of this, Amy, so I'm going to start with you.
Yeah.
What's your initial reaction when you hear her tell Vivek to his face she wouldn't vote for him because he's an Indian and brown?
Yeah, I mean, obviously does not come off in the best light. I think the thing that she initially said was meant to be more hyperbole when she said, I can say that to you because you're not a black African American. Like, I think she was referring to like woke culture and how if you were to say that about an African American, people would be like, what do you mean? Of course, like that's racist. That's reverse racism. So I think she was using hyperbole there. At least that's what my brain kind of jumped to initially. But then how the video ended makes me possibly think differently.
So have you ever heard of Ann Coulter before this? Never heard of her? Okay. On a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being like, dude, you just got canceled, Ann. Unbelievable. 1 being like, no big deal. It's fine.
Well,
Where are you at on this? Give me a number.
I want to see his reaction. How did the rest of the interaction play off when that isn't in isolation?
He got shocked, but he proceeded, and he actually tweeted that he respects her, but he was a little caught off guard.
Yeah.
But just based on what you've seen, 1 to 10, how cancelable or ridiculous was this comment?
So what's her job again?
She's a political pundit. 1 through 10.
I think we've heard way worse. I'd give it a 7.
Give it a 7. So
Yeah.
that's above average.
Yeah, above
Okay.
average. I wouldn't say fully cancelable though. I mean, you have people who are like Christian nationalists, white Christian nationalists. You know, there's definitely a way more fringe, kind of perspectives on this.
Bingo.
Yeah.
We're going to bring up the concept of nationalism in a second. Thank you, Amy. Even though you never heard of Ann Coulter, we're going to talk about nationalism in a second.
Gotcha.
And we talked about white nationalism, Christian nationalism.
Yeah, lower end of the spectrum.
Yes, there's different spectrum. Exactly. Now, Natalia,
Yes.
you know, beautiful brown girl, say hi.
Hi.
How y'all doing, y'all? Hey, y'all.
Hey, y'all.
Hey, y'all.
Thoughts on these comments that she said to his face, I wouldn't vote for you because you're Indian. And then they did have a conversation about brown people and brown skin, not being from America.
Yeah.
That was part of it. And even on Vivek's podcast with PBD, we talked about voting for a brown person.
I think it was like underlying shots fired at maybe previous people in office. And I think maybe that was her way of maybe throwing that in there. I think also what's important is to consider how Vivek reacted. I think if he reacted in a way that was making it more on the racist end, this could be probably a cancelable offense. But I think because, I'll be honest, I feel like maybe I'm just speaking for me, but I feel like, Indian brown people, we really don't care what people have to say. We just show what has to get done. And that's kind of the culture that's built around. So I don't think, like, we don't get offended by those kind of racial comments, if you want me to be honest. I don't really see often Indian people like, that was racist. Like, you don't see that because that's not part of the culture.
Now, you say we because your mom is what?
My mom is Guyanese, and then my great-grandparents are from India. So
Straight
I do
up.
have some Indian in me, you know. But based on the culture, you know, you work hard. Essentially, you go to school, you get good grades, you get a degree. They're very much by the books. But I think his reaction also has to do with the reasoning why maybe, you know, she isn't canceled per se. I will say this. She probably said something that many people were thinking that didn't want to say it. And I think even to have her do that and then let everybody see his reaction, I think it helps him. I think it makes him look good. I think it makes him look like I respect where you're coming from and your perspective. I'm still going to operate the way I operate and get things done. But I can appreciate you saying that because many people wouldn't, even though that is a very accurate statement for some people who are voting. They vote like that. You know, you see some of the presidents have been put into office, and I will say maybe it's sometimes based more on the looks on how they feel than they do maybe policies.
So I texted you something.
Yeah,
So,
I did.
Interesting. So, by the way, 1 through 10, Amy gave it a 7. How cancelable of a comment is this? 1 through 10.
1 through 10, based on this whole situation?
Yeah, just based on this.
Okay, I give it like a 6.
Okay.
Maybe a 7.
Like,
Just
I
based
wanna
on
see his
Vivek,
reaction.
though.
Like, I want to see
Based
it
on
not in
Vivek's reaction.
isolation. Honestly, I feel like what Trump said about Vivek was way worse. Didn't he make some type of a pun about like working at a quickie mall or something
yes.
No,
like
that
that?
was not Trump, and we're
Like-
going to bring that up.
No, it wasn't Trump. Oh, I'm
Yes,
sorry.
but Amy,
Forgive me. Forgive me, Trump. Forgive
No,
me,
it's all
MAGA
good.
fan.
It wasn't Trump, but you're on the right path here. So a couple things. You have to understand, first and foremost, Vivek is born in America. He's from Ohio. So just like an Italian American that's born in New York, just like an Irish American who's born in Boston, just like a Mexican American who's born in LA, just like a Jewish American that's born in South Florida, what have you, they're American. He's an Indian American. But first and foremost, he's American. His parents are from India, of India's descent. So let's not forget he's actually born in America. That's why he can run for president. So is it a little racist-y, if that's a word, on Ann? Yeah, a little bit.
It is.
A little bit.
Straight up, it is.
But I'd rather, you know, I asked sort of a trick question. How much should this be a cancelable offense? You said a 7. You said a 5. Here's my answer. You ready? 0. No canceling people for saying the things they're thinking out loud.
Sure.
Look, we've had far-right white Christian nationalists on this show. Nick Fuentes, shout out to you, buddy. Fan of Hitler. What?
Right.
But we had him on the show. We've had Alex Jones on the show. Coincidence theorists, conspiracy theorists. We've had people on the far left on the show. Communists, Marxists, Anthony Weiner showing things on screen you shouldn't be doing. Same with Jeffrey Tubin, tugging things on screen. I believe in having a free exchange of conversations and ideas, just like capitalism. The marketplace of ideas is free speech. Free speech, anyone should say anything. Now, if you call for hate speech, all right, there's a line there. Then when hate speech turns into action, all right, now we got a problem here. But her basically being like, yeah, I wouldn't vote for you because you're brown, 0 cancelable. But that's on her record. So is he brown? Yes. Great. Nothing wrong with that. He's born in America. Is he Indian? No, he's American. He's Indian American. His parents are Indian. Is he Hindu? Yes. Okay. Maybe you don't want to vote for someone who's not Christian. Now that gets into the whole conversation about nationalism. Now, nationalism, part of this article, they said she said the N-word. Now, you're thinking, oh my God, the N-word. But there's a different N-word that you can't quote unquote say, and that is nationalism. Now, I don't have a problem with being a nationalist. What's another word for nationalism in America? Patriotism. Ain't nothing wrong with that. But where Amy, you hit the nail on the head, you started saying, well, it's sort of a spectrum. What are the things on the spectrum that maybe a nationalism gets conjoined with, and it's a little aggressive? You said it earlier.
I think when it comes to nationalism, Christian nationalism, Caucasian nationalism is it's about not really wanting to dilute culture and not
Yep.
wanting to dilute traditions, you know, the things that this country was founded on. Now, that being said, America is also a melting pot, and that's one of the things that make it great. But, you know, it becomes a fine line now where you have so many people coming into here. These cultures and traditions are being eroded like before our very eyes. So to some degree, I can kind of see where they're coming from to an extent. Now, do I believe that fully? Obviously not. I'm an Australian. I'm an immigrant, a legal immigrant, mind you, in this country. So I can't side fully with that perspective, like, no, purely Americans. But I do understand the importance of maintaining, retaining, cultivating, and honoring the traditions that made this country great in the first place.
Well said, Amy. So, interesting thing about Ann Coulter. Do you know who she dated?
No.
Do you know who Dinesh D'Souza is?
Nope.
So here's a couple. This was her ex back in the day. Dinesh. She's also been on the podcast. Looks.
Oh.
What color is he?
looks
Now I
like-
can't.
He's brown.
He's brown. He's an Indian dude.
Yeah.
He looks Indian. I was
So
gonna
she'll
say.
bang a brown dude.
But not
She'll
the
date a
president.
brown dude. We can't. Not my president.
Not my president.
So it's very interesting. But I actually respect Ann because she says the things that a lot of people are thinking.
Yeah.
But she'll say them out loud. By the way, do you know who famously predicted that Trump would win the presidency in 2015? Stuck her neck out on a limb and said, hey, I think this guy's going to win. It was Ann Coulter. Interesting. She said it on the Bill Maher show. She got laughed off stage. Who's laughing now? So one thing I remember about Ann Coulter being on the show, we talked about cancel culture and DEI and this great replacement theory and all these situations. And she said at the end of the day, this down with the patriarchy, boss babe, feminist movement, she goes, look, I'll just simplify this. They want to eliminate straight white men from running the country. So
Facts.
you might say, well, what's wrong with that? What's wrong? Well,
I like the white
50% of Americans are men, 50% are women. What percentage of Americans are white? I think it's 65%.
Oh,
So the vast majority of people in the country are white.
yeah.
Half of them are men. Now, when you talk about getting into business and to politics, it's an 80-20 men versus women. Now they want to put DEI in there, and we want gay black midgets to be flying your planes. It's like, there's not that many of them, buddy. A lot of them are 60-year-old white guys who used to fly in the Navy and the Air Force. Good luck finding these gay transgender midgets to fly your planes. So we had this conversation, and I understand and I empathize. Now, you're talking to somebody that years ago, before I kind of was in this world, I'd be like, she's racist. That's horrible. She's an idiot.
Really?
But now I'm like, nah, I kind of get where she's coming from. And at least I respect the fact that she says the things that a lot of people think, but they don't want to say. She said at the beginning, she said, I'm going to disagree with you to make things interesting. And she certainly made things interesting. So in the world of attention economy and eyeballs and clicks and views equals impressions and money and fame and status and staying relevant.
Yeah.
Good for her. So there's also something called satire and the ability to take a joke. And he's not like, oh my God, she called me brown, she called me Indian, she called me Hindu. Well, you are, bro. If there's anything that Vivek stands for, it's not being a crybaby.
Right.
He wrote the book, Woke Inc., talking about woke culture. So after he dropped out of the race, the Babylon Bee, which is the right-leaning version of The Onion, Seth Dillon's been on the podcast, they put out this tweet talking about Vivek. The Babylon Bee is under fire. Vivek Ramaswamy's White House 7-Eleven parody story. They said, do you have the actual tweet?
Says
Trump promises Vivek an administration position running the White House 7-Eleven. Whoa. Indian people? 7-Eleven? Babylon Bee? Some pretty serious jokes right there.
yeah, but it's not like crazy of a joke. Let's be honest.
Okay.
You see a lot of successful Indians. They're successful. They just own the gas stations. I mean,
So
it's a
you're-
nice joke.
I mean, it's the
a
reason it
funny
was a
joke.
Stereotype.
Like,
Stereotype.
It's funny
yeah, like,
because it's true,
funny
maybe.
because it's true, but it depends again how you look at it, and it depends how the message is delivered. Now, if it wasn't Ann and it was just some super crazy, white person that's like, yeah, I fuck brown people, then that's like,
Yeah.
obviously you're going to have a different reaction. But you have somebody, look, she's dated somebody brown, she's
Yeah.
also very much in the political space. So, this could also be underlying shots. It's the level
Okay.
of joking that you have
But
to accept.
it's just, you got to respect some of Vivek. He doesn't succumb to being triggered and letting
Yes.
emotions get the best of him.
Go Indians.
So PBD
Yeah.
actually saw this, said, "Oh, I'm a capitalist. I'm an opportunist. Let me take this conversation to another level." So he actually went to a 7-Eleven
No.
and actually ate a hot dog
Nice.
from 7-Eleven. I believe we have this clip.
Oh, yes. I love this clip.
Waiting now.
Potter, what are you doing?
See, this is a dream. When you make money, you get to afford to buy some high-end type of food. And nothing says more high-end than hot dogs at 7-Eleven. And if you've had this, you know how great this is.
They look kind
How
of
you
good,
feeling,
too.
Eric?
10 feet tall and bulletproof. All that mustard. Look at this, look at this, look at this. Ah!
Okay, so go back to the clip because you'll notice who commented on the clip. Who's that at the
Retweeted
top?
it.
Vivek,
Yeah.
thank
What'd he
you
say?
thank you for coming, and don't forget to grab a Slurpee.
Thank you, come again.
Thank you.
Incredible.
I love
Simpsons
that.
reference,
I love
right?
that.
Thanks, Amy. I'm trying to dap you up. There it was. But Vivek can take a joke.
Yes.
He's not succumbing to woke cancel culture, not having a sense of humor, which we're going to talk about more on the podcast. So nobody here is getting canceled. By the way, who got canceled during the Me Too cancel culture, like just complete craze from 2016 to 2020? It was a lot of people on the right.
Yeah.
Not a lot of people on the left got canceled. A few. But after Vivek dropped out of the race, the left darling on ABC, Jimmy Kimmel, decided to make a comment. Here's what he said in a race-baiting, color-coordinating fashion. Check this out.
Got it?
So, Jimmy,
got rid of Aunt
no,
Jemima.
Jimmy Kimmel. Sorry, guys. Alejandro, she's not from America. No, it's not in America. Jimmy Kimmel. He said, Jimmy Kimmel trolls Vivek.
Adam.
There it is right there. He trolls Vivek for kissing Trump's orange ass. That's a cultural appropriation for orange people. Orange people are a misrepresented segment of society. Trump used to be white, now he's orange. Why are we piling on Trump? Let the guy get a spray tan. It's not a big deal.
Yeah.
So this is identity politics at its finest. So there's something that we should bring up with Jimmy Kimmel. Because Jimmy Kimmel, who's trying to cancel a lot of people, who basically, Aaron Rodgers, him and went against some stuff. We've seen sort of the darlings of the left, the Hollywood. If you say anything pro-Trump on the right, anything that would go against the Hollyweird woke agenda, you can get canceled. But there was a time that Jimmy Kimmel actually was funny. Because now the whole thing with comedy is misdirection. Oh, I'm going to tell you, I didn't see this one coming. The reason that late night comedy is not funny anymore is because they're just making the same jokes piling on Trump.
Yeah.
And you're talking to somebody who used to do stand-up comedy, understands misdirection. Oh, didn't see this one coming. Whether it's Colbert, whether it's Kimmel, whether it's Fallon, they're just piling on the Trump jokes. We see it coming. So when Jimmy Kimmel was actually funny, he used to do things like this. Tell me if this is a cancelable offense when he used to be on The Man Show. Jimmy Kimmel actually had to apologize for dressing up as blackface
Damn.
as Karl Malone, who's one of the 50 greatest players in NBA history. So he went on The Man Show. You have that other image? I know it's not as good. He went on The Man Show, this is years ago, and did an impression dressed up in blackface.
Wow.
Think about that today. If someone dressed up in blackface,
Yeah.
canceled,
Yeah.
10 out of 10.
You would consider that as a cancelable
I don't know.
offense,
I-
would you?
Thank God there was no social media when I was in college. Because my black friends are dressed up as Eminem. My white friends dressed up as
Dude, Tropic
Rosa
Thunder,
Parks.
that movie
Tropic
is
Thunder.
freaking
White chicks.
legendary.
White
There's no way
chicks.
Tropic
You have your
Thunder would
picture,
stand.
Adam.
What are you going to say?
That's the picture you want.
This is the picture. Thank you, Alondra. Jimmy Kimmel dressed up. Tell me if you did that today, how quickly you'd be canceled.
Yeah.
But all he had to do, go back to the article, he issued an apology.
He's okay
Yo,
now.
hey, my bad.
I'm sorry.
Don't cancel me. We won't. Don't worry. It's fine. Just say our narrative. Just bash Trump.
Yeah.
There it is. So at the end of the day, we started this conversation with Vivek on PBD Podcast. Show that image again of the picture. The picture of a group of us on PBD Podcast. We had a conversation before the show, during the show, after the show. This guy has thick skin. He's not sensitive. He can take a joke. Ann Coulter says to your face, I won't vote for you because you're such and such a, and he goes, all right, cool, next question.
Yeah.
Sweat off my back. There's a lesson there. Let's continue. So, we talked about Jimmy Kimmel and being canceled and cancel culture and everything that's happening with that. My question is, can Gen Z take a joke?
No.
Where am I going with this? You say no.
No.
Just straight up no.
Yeah. They're
Really?
very sensitive.
What makes you say that?
They're very sensitive. Everything is the world is ending. Everything is went too far. Imagine if the movie White Chicks came out today. Imagine that. People would roll over in their graves.
Oh my
That's
God.
how sensitive Gen Z can be today. I think they are selective with the humor that they choose if it's pushing the agenda that they want. But they are very sensitive. I even notice sometimes my little sister can be a little sensitive. I'm like,
Ooh.
Malia, it's okay. It's not that big of a deal. So I think we need to bring more of that comedic humor back because it's kind of a way of teaching people how to like accept something that triggers them, right? Let's have a conversation. That bothered me, but let's talk about it. Humor allows people to have those conversations that are those triggering conversations. So I don't know. I think Gen Z today is a little bit more on the sensitive end, but maybe that's just my opinion.
Gotcha. So, bring up that picture of Jimmy Kimmel, if you don't mind, because he didn't get canceled for basically putting on a blackface. They talk about cultural appropriation. Oh my God, you're not Mexican and you're eating Mexican food. Cultural appropriation. All right. But Jimmy Kimmel can do the blackface thing. Hey, I'm Karl Malone. Whoa. Thanks, Jimmy.
It also goes both ways, though. The darker community, they also are the same, too. They go and they sew in blonde hair in their hair. And they say, oh, well, this is my hair. And it's like, well, no, in your culture, you weren't born with that hair, and that's okay. But again, it goes both ways.
You might just got canceled.
I don't really care because it's true. You don't have blonde hair.
This has been an interesting week because we saw Vivek do the podcast with Ann Coulter. She said to his face, I'm not voting for you because you're a brown Indian guy. Straight up. We also saw this past week was what they called the greatest roast of all time of Tom Brady. We did a whole episode on that where comedy made a comeback and we unofficially / officially said that cancel culture is done. You have that picture of the comedy of the Tom Brady roast?
And then everyone had to go and try to cancel Tony Hinchcliffe for the joke he made about Kim
Tony.
Kardashian.
Okay.
Man,
We
just
love
when we
Tony.
said
Yes,
that.
the greatest roast of all time, hosted by Kevin Hart. I mean, it was zing after zing after zing. They made fun of race, of politics, of identity, of gender, and it was jokes. If you can't make jokes about things in comedy, what can you do? So we've learned a couple terms over the last decade or so, woke terms, identity politics, or virtue signaling, cultural appropriation. I had to learn recently what cisgender was.
Ugh.
Someone called me a cis man. I was like, what was that? What are you trying to say? Trying to say, I'm just a man. No, you're a cis man. You call me a sissy? No, you were born a man. You still are a man. Yeah, okay.
call a
What's
man.
going on with that? We've learned terms in the last handful of years: DEI, ESG, intersectionality, decolonialization. Don't misgender me. Binary, pansexual. It's like he, him, they, them. All what?
Yikes.
So, when I first joined Valuetainment, it was in 2020. I was a finance guy and I did stand-up comedy. I wasn't hanging out in this Gen Z woke world, especially in the free state of Florida. I didn't realize how bad it was in California and New York. I didn't get it. I wasn't in this world. And I saw this clip of cancel culture run amok by this comedian, John Crist. And I was like, what is this all about? I believe we have that clip, yeah? Yeah. Okay.
We got rid of Uncle Ben's, but I am
Is that at the
wildly
beginning?
triggered by the brands and the photos that I see in this grocery store. Using a polar bear to sell your ice cream, Klondike. Did you know polar bears were extinct? No thank you. Canceled. Paw Patrol mac and cheese. Listen, defund the police, defund Paw Patrol. V8, you know what kind of emissions an engine like that puts out into the environment? I drive a Prius and that is canceled. Okay, I don't exactly know who this guy is, but I don't like his look at all. Anything that this stands
Canceled.
for, canceled. White rice, brown rice. Why they gotta be separated? Think about it. Canceled.
Canceled.
Uncle Ben's absolutely offended by that. Listen, do I know any minorities myself? No, I don't, but I feel very confident speaking on their behalf.
Good
on
for
the
you.
internet. Hola, Tapatio. Una pregunta. You ever heard of cultural appropriation? Canceled.
Cancel. Thank you,
The
Alejandra.
woman being-
Hola, tapatilla, ¿cómo estás? Alejandra, did you get offended that a white guy was speaking Spanish even though he's not Spanish?
A little bit.
You were offended?
He wasn't speaking good.
Fair enough.
Are you offended that he was speaking Spanish, or you're offended he's not good at speaking Spanish?
He's not good at speaking Spanish.
¿Qué piensas cuando me hablo
Oh.
español muy malo?
Muy mal.
Es muy malo, yeah.
Sí, pero...
Pero él va a mejorar. You're gonna get better.
That's right. Thank you.
Lost me on that.
I said, are you offended when I speak Spanish kind of bad? She goes, no, it's okay, but you necesito practicar, necesito una profesora, no maestra.
You learned
Yo aprendo.
that.
Professora.
I said, she said, stop calling them teachers, maestras, call them professors, a little more.
Oh.
I said, okay.
Yeah, it's more cool.
But I learned, it's more cool.
Teach me Spanish.
By the way, speaking of cool, look into the mirror and give a thumbs up.
She's cool.
So she's
Good.
not sensitive.
Adorable.
Thank you. Adorable. But he used a couple words like triggered. I am so triggered right now. We're going to have to cancel this whole thing. Uncle Ben, who is this guy? Quaker Oats. By the way, the Quakers were kind of the people that founded America. Forget about that. With the Pilgrims, and the Quakers.
Yeah.
Forget about that. And the witch trials. You two would probably be at the stake in the witch trials. And forget about that.
I'm Catholic.
But shout out to Gen Z. They are actually the most diverse generation in American history. But let's go further with this cancel culture and why Gen Z can't take a joke. So, the funniest movies of all time. You ever heard of IMDb, Amy?
Yes.
Oh, the website that rates movies?
Yes.
Yeah.
Pretty credible source for movies.
Yeah.
Yes?
Yeah. I would
I
say
don't know.
so.
Amy, it's movies.
I don't look up ratings of movies. I'm not sure.
Just say yes, Amy. Jesus
Yes,
Christ.
sir.
IMDb. They had their 100 greatest comedies of all time. We're going to go rapid fire here. Pull up the list. I need your guys' help. So, what I want to... National Lampoons, 1978.
Yeah.
Caddyshack, 1980. Blazing Saddles, 1974. The Blues Brothers, 1980. Vacation, 1983. The Jerk, 1979. Stripes. Keep going down. Young Frankenstein. Oh, no,
Stripes
she wants to
is
watch Caddyshack right
1981.
now. Not so fast.
1981,
Stripes. Young
Stripes.
Frankenstein. Nat, you say the year when I say the movie.
Okay.
The Ghostbusters, 1984.
1984.
The Hangover.
2000.
Keep going.
Keep going.
Hangover, what year?
2009.
Remember that year. 2009. Superbad, 2007.
2007.
Let's go rapid fire.
Cheech and Chong,
Cheech
next
and
movie,
Chong.
1980.
The Cable Guy.
1996. The Ghostbusters 2, 1989. Trading Places, 1983. Planes,
Amy, if you
Trains,
see
and
something, read it
Automobiles,
out loud.
1987. Forgetting Sarah Marshall, 2008. UHF, 1989.
History of the world.
1981.
Basically, here's what I want to do right now. We're going to scroll down. Zombieland.
all in the 90s.
The Great
and
Outdoors.
80s.
All in the 90s. All in the 90s.
in the
All in the
90s.
early 2000s. Go ahead,
Pineapple
Alejandra.
Express.
Pineapple
Yes,
Express, what year?
2008. 2008.
2008.
Dirty Work.
Big
There's
Lebowski.
something-
Up in Smoke. There's something about Mary. 1990. Amazing movie.
1990.
Got
All
something in your
90s.
hair. Nat, you got something in your hair.
I do.
Step Brothers. What year was that? Yeah, a little something in your hair. Something about
Right
Mary.
there.
Yeah. There you go. Anybody gets that joke? Extra points right there. Go
I
ahead.
don't get it.
Keep
I
got
going
it.
right there. She had something in her hair. It's an inside joke. Don't worry.
Okay.
Knocked Up. 2007. Keep going. What else?
Where are you?
The 40-Year-Old Virgin. What year was that?
40-Year-Old Virgin, 2005.
Keep going.
Oh, it's a great movie.
Okay.
Anchorman was
So
2004.
Napoleon Dynamite, 2004. Easy Money. Keep going. Keep going. Keep going. Keep going.
American Pie.
Wayne's World. Here we go. Here's the point. Go all the way back to the top.
Scary
Go to the Hangover.
movie. Aw.
Go to the Hangover.
Oh, that one is a good one.
Which one?
Hangover.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
That one is 2000.
So there it is. Punching on the Hangover. So the,
2009.
by the way, go to the top just so we're all on the same page here. The 100 funniest movies of all time. Scroll to the top.
Right there, you see it.
To the top, 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 top.
Right there, hundreds.
No, like to the top of the article.
That's it.
Oh, that's as far.
That's the
Okay,
top,
this is the
yeah.
100 greatest movies of all time. Do you know this? In the 100
90s.
greatest movies of all time, none have been made since 2010 to 2024 today. So you're telling me in the last 15 years, since The Hangover came out, not one funny movie made this list?
No.
The Hangover. Drunk dudes in a hotel getting knocked out by Mike Tyson. What's your baby's name? Jose, whatever his name is.
Retard.
Retard. What?
It's
Retard?
Retard.
Retard. Calling Doctor. Remember?
Yes.
Gen Z saw that movie and they said, 4 white guys in a movie? Not on my watch. And they have not literally officially made a funny movie since 2010. You mean to tell me that as we've gotten the ability to CGI, effects, the ability to do sequels, make new things, new ideas, AI, SFX, all these amazing things, you can't come up with one funny movie? The last funny movie, according to IMDb, that made it into the 100 funniest movies of all time was The Hangover in 2009. Dude, I grew up Caddyshack, Billy Madison, Happy Gilmore, Trading Places, Coming to America, Your Royal Highness, Your Royal Penis is clean, Your Highness.
I love that movie.
So
I love that movie.
amazing.
Was
And
Hot Rod on that list?
Who was?
Hot Rod? Was that on that
We'll
list?
figure that out later, Amy. Let's not throw off the trail with your hot rod Australian bullshit. Here's the deal. Why can't Gen Z take a joke? There was a movie called Blazing Saddles back in the day, Mel Brooks, where the guy comes in. He goes, "Who are you?" A black guy. He goes, "I'm the new sheriff." And they all in unison go, "A black sheriff?" The crowd goes wild. It's one of the most funniest, iconic jokes of all time.
Yeah.
There it is right there, Blazing Saddles.
Wow.
He was a black sheriff. Oh my God, a black sheriff. But you have to use humor to basically cut through the tension that is within society. Believe me, when I was a comedian, I would say the following. It's not racist if you make fun of everybody.
Yeah.
Now, it's racist if you're like, you know who I don't like? The Jews. Just them. Well, that's pretty bad.
Yeah.
You know who else I don't like? Just the blacks. Just the blacks? Well, you're pretty racist. Like,
Yeah.
I don't like the Asians. I don't like this. I don't like that. The Germans, this. But if you're like, yeah, I actually hate everybody. That's actually perfectly acceptable. I love everybody. That's perfectly acceptable. You can make fun of everybody and nobody, perfectly acceptable. But when you call out one specific group and you hate them, So Gen Z, why can't you take a joke? Here's the point. One of the greatest comedians of all time, Jerry Seinfeld, who's literally a billionaire. There's not many comedians who are millionaires.
Right.
Just so you know.
Right.
I know part of the reason I got into finance because I was sick of sleeping on my friends' couches and borrowing money to go on dates. Not good look.
Ugh.
So very few comedians are millionaires, but some make it. Some comedians become multi-millionaires. Dave Chappelle, I don't know, he's probably worth 50, 100 million, right? There's a bunch of comedians out there. Bill Burr, he's funny. Bill Maher, political comedian. We know the names, we know the games, we see what's going on here. Joe Rogan, obviously he's worth hundreds of millions at this point. But I don't know any other comedian who's with a full-on billionaire, Jerry Seinfeld. Creator of Seinfeld, who also was the co-creator with Larry David, who created Curb Your Enthusiasm. These are classics.
Right.
So he actually was asked to give a commencement speech at Duke University in North Carolina. And what did he talk about? Gen Z, my young friends out there, having a sense of humor and taking a joke. Do we have that clip? Let's show it.
The audio. Perfect.
Audio.
the top.
Tell you the most important thing I am confident that I know about life. I'm 70. I'm done. You are just starting. I only want to help you. The slightly uncomfortable feeling of awkward humor is okay. It's not something you need to fix. I totally admire the ambitions of your generation to create a more just and inclusive society.
Just and inclusive.
I think it is
We know
also
that.
wonderful that you care so much about not hurting other people's feelings. In the 1,000,001 ways, we all do that every second of every day.
Yep.
It's lovely to want to fix those things, but, all caps, but.
But,
What
here's
I
the
need
but.
to tell you as a comedian, do not lose your sense of humor. You can have no idea at this point in your life how much you are going to need it to get through. Not enough of life makes sense for you to be able to survive it without humor. And I know all of you here are going to use all of your brains and muscle and soul to improve the world, and I know you're going to do a bang-up job. And when you're done, as I am now, I bet the world, because of you, will be a much better place. But it will still not make a whole hell of a lot of sense. It'll be a better, different, but still pretty insane mess. And it is worth the sacrifice of an occasional discomfort to have some laughs. Don't lose that. Even if it's at the cost of occasional hard feelings, it's okay, you gotta laugh. That is the one thing at the end of your life you will not wish you did less of. Humor is the most powerful, most survival, essential quality you will ever have or need to navigate through the human experience.
Unbelievable. Powerful, essential quality to navigate through the human experience. Don't lose your sense of humor. Thank you, Jerry Seinfeld. You're gonna need it to get through this thing called life. So I'll tell a few stories in a second, but Nat, when you hear something like this, and you talked about your sister being a little offended, she's younger,
Yeah.
Gen Z,
Yeah.
you're the youngest millennial.
Yes.
I'm the oldest millennial.
Yes.
Amy, you're kind of a youngish millennial. Yeah?
When does it start? I don't even know.
Don't worry about that. What are your thoughts?
I think this is a way that some of these celebrities are maybe trying to get a grip of Gen Z without offending them. Is kind of preparing them for, hey guys, we're gonna start ramping up some of these jokes. If you want to be honest, now that I think about it, I feel like maybe even the Tom Brady, that whole was to get a group of celebrities in a room and say very offensive jokes and let kind of everybody see how they react to it.
Ooh.
And
you think it's part of an agenda to
I think it's
de-wokeify the Gen Z?
I think so. I think so. I think this could be a chance for the audience, people who are fans of these celebrities, from a Kim Kardashian to a Tom Brady to a Kevin Hart, to come together, watch something in one room or in one sitting, and somewhat align. And if that's aligning through a laugh, it's still somewhat aligning some type of understanding that, hey, I can joke on this, I can joke on this. Let's be honest, we all know this is bullshit, right? So I think this is a great opportunity for the celebrities out there to come to a place and a niche, which is comedy, to kind of re-wake up Gen Z and unite them.
Well, wait till the end of this clip because you'll see what they had to say when he showed up on campus. But
Right.
Amy,
They probably hated
thoughts
him.
on having a sense of humor, hurting people's feelings, cancel culture, safe spaces, thick skin. What are your thoughts?
I love it. It's near essential. I think that's why, for me, I love what I do here at Valuetainment. I love the social, political, cultural commentary. But my favorite podcast is Kill Tony. I watch it religiously every single Monday.
Tony
Sorry, guys.
Hinchcliffe.
I watch it religiously every single Monday because you need to laugh. Like, life is never going to be devoid of criticism or malevolence. Like, life is so hard sometimes. And if you can't even take a joke, then how are you going to be able to take life's challenges head on when they come your way? So I think it's absolutely essential. I think that the work side of things, it's exclusively like a Democratic thing. I mean, Trump has a phenomenal sense of humor. Republicans have a great sense of humor. Speaking of Kill Tony, for anyone who saw the live show, you would know that RFK was on Tony Hinchcliffe's live show doing a minute just a couple of days ago, last Friday. So I think the culture really is shifting. The Democratic Party is really trying to hold on to this like woke culture because at the end of the day, it's their version of pandering, of virtue signaling. And from their perspective, that's probably the only way they can win elections. But I think that from every other side, every other political party, everyone's pretty much fed up with that.
Yeah, great points by Amy. And one of the things that I want to key on, you talked about life is hard. You got to be able to take a joke. So what did Buddha say? Do you have that quote that Buddha said?
Yeah, she's pulling it up.
So Buddha
Give her a second.
said the following: life is suffering.
Yeah.
Life ain't easy. 70% of life is suffering, and 30% is trying to figure out what the hell to do with suffering. There's also the German philosopher Friedrich Nietzsche, who said the following. He said, to live is to suffer, to survive is to find some meaning in the suffering. There it is right there.
Yeah.
To live is, life is hard, bro. Life is hard. Why do we watch comedies? Why do we go to the movies? To escape from life. And by the way, we have it better than anyone else in the world here in America. If you have a job, you've got money, you got a roof, you got clothes, you got clean water, you got the internet,
AC.
You got AC right now, not sweating your ass off.
Yeah.
It's almost summertime right now.
Yep.
And you want to complain about how much you hate America? Go to the other countries.
Yeah.
Go move to the Islamic Republic of Iran. Have a ball. Move to Yemen. Have a great time. Move to China. There's a reason that if you go to the southern border, which is a whole nother conversation, it's not just Mexicans, Guatemalans, and El Salvadorians. There are finding people from China, from Iran, from Africa, from all over the Middle East. How the hell did these people get here coming to America? Now the open border policy is sort of a freaking mess right now. But a lot of these people, they come for as political asylum. But a lot of these people, some people, they say, are actual criminals that are let out of jail to infuse their bullshit into America. A lot of them are terrorists, but some of them are actually just fleeing these oppressive regimes in that side of the world. So to my friends protesting how much they hate America, go to another country, bro.
Yeah.
Go ahead, honey. We'll see what happens with that. And those people actually made an appearance, this is called a callback in comedy, at Jerry Seinfeld's commencement speech. So he gets on stage, he starts delivering this message about go ahead, make something of your life. I know you want to have justice. I know that you want to be inclusive. And what do the Gays for Gaza Brigade decide to do? They do what they do best. Protest and walk out and not hear what he has to say. Roll that clip.
Jerry's also serving as our commencement speaker today.
So he's on stage, they're clapping for him. They notice these kids are walking out. Now listen closely.
So what's the big deal about our commencement speaker?
They start booing them.
Also serving as
They start booing the Gays for Gaza crowd, the Free Palestine from the Rivers to the Sea crowd. By the way, perfectly okay to protest. But to not even want to listen to what someone else has to say is just ignorant. By the way, we've seen a million different clips of our friend Charlie Kirk glowing on campus. They try to remove him from campus or try to cancel him from campus. You're transphobic, you're racist. What did I say? Tell me. They don't even want to hear him out. They want to argue with him. And they don't let Ben Shapiro, Candace Owens. Who's that?
Michael Knowles
Michael
is
Knowles?
a big one, yeah.
Okay.
I love his debates.
Maybe we need to go up on campus and have conversations.
Oh, yeah.
But then again, we're in Florida.
Yeah, I don't think there
And
is
University
work.
of Florida, the leading school in Florida, they're not that woke. Ben Sass, who was the former senator of Nebraska, is now the president of Florida. I went to Florida State University, Go Noles. Not that woke.
Yeah.
So there's things going on here. By the way, you see what happens in these liberal cities: Columbia, Cornell, Texas, Austin, UCLA. This happened in Duke University, in Durham, North Carolina. About a dozen or so people walked out. What did the rest of the crowd do? Booed them.
Yeah.
Not in America, not in my house. So Gen Z, if you're part of that camp, be able to take a joke, and then maybe you'll get some good movies like back in the day.
Hopefully.
Shout out to The
It's
Hangover.
time.
Let's move on to the next one. So, we talked about cancel culture. We talked about being able to take a joke. Nothing, they say, is a bigger joke these days than what's going on in this Trump hush money trial. Let me tee up why this is such a joke.
Yeah.
So the comedy, hush money, shh, shut your mouth. So there's a hush money, but there's also a gag order. So be quiet. There it is. And the person at the center of this is a guy called David Pecker, who's the CEO of the National Enquirer, a salacious media tabloid newspaper. So hush, gag, Pecker, that's going on here. Stormy Daniels, porn star. What is happening right now?
A lot of weird things.
Alan Weisselberg, who's the CFO of the Trump organization, he's been all up in the mix as part of the testimonies right now. These catch and kill stories of what's going on. But nobody is more in the mix than former Trump attorney and fixer and criminal, because he served time in jail, Michael Cohen. So Michael Cohen claims that Trump told him to pay off Stormy Daniels in a key testimony that hinges on the ex-con credibility. He used the Nike slogan, just do it. So Cohen testified that he, Trump, and the National Enquirer collaborated to suppress stories damaging Trump's 2016 campaign. This involved allegedly affairs with Stormy Daniels and Karen McDougal. Now, we've heard of Stormy McDaniels, but there's also a lady called Karen McDougal. Maybe you can pull her up. No big deal if you can't. Karen McDougal. So Trump wanted to hold off paying Stormy Daniels until after the 2016 election. But after Michael Cohen discovered that Stormy Daniels was selling her story to a British tabloid, Trump ordered Cohen to make the deal. And that's when he said, absolutely, just do it. Nike vibes, take care of it. But what you don't know is the following. If you don't have Karen McDougal, it's fine. If you don't know it, the following is, you got it? Here's Karen McDougal. Not bad.
Yeah.
There's a thing called a MILF. Have you ever heard of it? I don't know. I'm just
Like
saying,
your type.
people are saying, guys, Karen McDougal, not my type. I don't know.
That's your type.
But maybe the type. Right?
That's your type.
Nat knows that's-
but brown eyes,
Yeah.
that's your type. Yeah.
Got a little soft spot for these nice women out there.
Yes.
So, but Michael Cohen, who's his attorney, was doing something sneaky peeky on the down low, and he was recording Trump without his knowledge. This is called a secret audio recording, and I believe we at Valuetainment have this clip. So here's the clip of Donald Trump being secretly recorded by Michael Cohen. Go ahead.
So we got served from the New York Times. I told you this regarding to unseal the divorce papers with Ivana. We're fighting it. Kasowitz is going to
never be able to get that.
Never. Kasowitz don't ever be able. They don't have a.
Give me a Coke, please.
They don't have a legitimate purpose.
And you
So
have a woman that doesn't want to unseal.
correct.
So you've been handling it.
Yes, and it's
That's
all
been going on for a while.
for about 2-3 weeks now.
All you have to do is delay it for.
Even after that, it's not going to ever be opened. There's no purpose for it. Told you about Charleston. I need to open up a company for the transfer of all of that info regarding our friend David, so that I'm going to do that right away. I've actually come up and I've spoken to Alan Weisselberg about how to set the whole thing up with
So what are we going to pay?
funding. Yes. And it's all the stuff, because you never know where that company, you never know where he's going to be.
Gets hit by a truck.
Correct. So I'm all over that. And I spoke to Alan about it when it comes time for the financing, which will be.
Listen, what financing?
We'll have to pay you. So
I'll pay the cash.
no. I got no. Hey, Don, how are you?
Okay. He goes on to say, prosecutors argues that Daniels' payment disguised as a phony legal retainer and concealed in Trump's company records violate campaign finance laws. So that's sort of what he's being accused of. Trump reorganized the damage of the Daniels story, saying the following: women will hate me, but guys might think it's pretty cool, but this is going to be a disaster for the campaign. So that's when they decided to make the payment. So Stormy Daniels, she's at the crux of what's going on with this. But she's changing her tune. And of all people, Bill Maher called her out. So we have a clip of Bill Maher basically being like, what just happened here, Stormy? So Bill Maher, I spoke about this on the PBD podcast today. He's, for whatever he is, he's classic liberal. He believes in free speech. He believes in accountability. He's not a progressive woke leftist, and he's certainly not a Trump fan, but he also speaks truth to power. So here's what he said to Stormy Daniels to her face, and then as a reaction to her latest testimony. Here he is in 2018 when he interviewed Stormy Daniels the first time.
And first I asked her why she had sex with Trump. Listen to that, and then listen to what she says after that, and then we're going to talk about the trial, because it's quite at variance of what she said to me in 2018. Why did you Donald Trump? Okay, but you say it's not a Me Too case.
It is not a Me Too case. I mean, I wasn't assaulted. I wasn't attacked or raped or coerced or blackmailed. They tried to shove me in the Me Too box to further their own agenda. And first of all, I didn't want any part of that because it's not the truth, and I'm not a victim in that regard.
That's not what she's saying now. She's talking about he was bigger and blocking the way. It's all the Me Too buzzwords. She said there was a imbalance of power, for sure. My hands were shaking so hard. She said she blacked out. Blacked out? She's a porn star. I don't think sex.
That doesn't mean she's been subjected to the likes of Donald Trump.
Okay.
I might black out too.
Do you really think she blacked out? I mean, a porn star is used to having sex with people she does not know. That's the job. It's kind of like Stormy Bob Stormy.
So, you got to applaud Bill Maher for basically calling out Stormy Daniels. So in 2018, she said the following: "This was not a Me Too case. This was I'm not a victim. This is the absolute truth. This is what I'm saying right now. And now I blacked out. He was bigger. He was blocking the way. I feared for my situation." It's like, which one is it, Stormy?
She's feeling the inflation, so she needs a check.
She's feeling hoflation
Hoflation.
and inflation.
She said, Donald won't pay me.
Which one do you think it was, Nat? Was the 2018 story more accurate or the 2024 story more accurate in your
definitely
position?
believe the 2018 story. You could even see how she's talking about it. She's almost like boasting about it, like, no, it wasn't that, and all of a sudden today when Me Too is the movement and you have all these people pushing this agenda and she's probably getting paid to push the agenda. And that's essentially where this is coming from. I mean, no offense, but she is a porn star. So, you have a porn star arguing about having sex and then all of a sudden it turned into rape. 1 minute I was raped, 1 minute I wanted to go do it. So her argument is not a good argument. So it's a little disturbing. I think she's just in it for a check. I mean, you're a prostitute. I'm sorry.
Look, so it's easy for, I assume, the gay guy at the end who was like, oh, you never have to have sex with Donald Trump. Okay, we're seeing Trump when he's 78. Whether you are the biggest Trump fan ever or the biggest Trump hater, in the 80s and 90s and early 2000s when this guy was in his 30s, 40s, 50s,
he looked
literally
he looked good.
Billionaire, good-looking dude, owned casinos, hotels, pageants. A lot of girls out there would gladly take it from Daddy Trump.
Yeah.
Yes or no, ladies?
Yes.
Yeah.
They
Funny,
would.
extremely charismatic. Like, he still has those traits today, so.
Ladies still go crazy for him.
You hitting on DJT right now,
I mean,
Amy?
he's kind of cute.
I mean, he walks in a room. He's got his the Riz. He's got some Riz.
Wow.
He's good looking. He handles his pockets right.
Trump Riz.
I mean,
Okay.
I'm okay.
This
with
is
it.
an odd question. Now, today,
Yeah.
MFK. We know what MFK stands for. Marry.
Oh.
F.
Oh.
Kill.
Okay.
Make not no longer. Trump. Obama.
Oh.
It's too easy to say Biden.
I know. I was gonna say.
Come on.
Trump. Biden.
Okay. Trump, Biden. Okay.
Gavin Newsom.
Oh.
Ooh. Ooh. Oh. Who goes first?
Amy.
Rock, paper, scissors.
Okay.
Definitely have to
Rock, paper,
sacrifice
scissors.
Biden. He's gone.
No.
Bye.
It's Gavin Newsom, it's Obama, and Trump.
Oh,
Amy, go
Obama.
first.
So who
Okay,
would you
kill
marry?
Newsom, for sure.
We kill him with kindness.
Nah, we straight slaughter him. He's
Okay.
gone.
I don't know what we're allowed to say here.
When
But
it comes, Obama, because I've never been with a black man. That would be, just to try it out, and then marry, and then marry Trump for sure.
okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
I'll be the first lady.
Natalia, Gavin Newsom,
I'd.
Trump, Obama.
Gavin's got to go because he's got
Ooh.
he's got life on him. He's got a few years on him, so he can probably put some more damage into play. So he got to go. Biden. He deserves a good time. He needs some help, right?
Wait,
Not
Obama.
Biden.
Obama.
Obama.
Oh,
Trump.
Obama. Oh, Obama.
You just were about to bang Biden? What just
Well, I mean, the poor guy's already dead. Maybe it'll revive him.
Weekend at
Wake
Bernie's.
up! Some
Weekend at
boobs.
Bernie's. Gavin Newsom.
Okay.
You
Obama.
you offed him. Obama,
Yeah, I would marry.
Trump.
I would marry Trump. I would marry Trump.
So one night stand with Obama.
We don't do those lady activities, but if I was
Okay.
going to have to decide, he would.
Now, I know a guy that had a one night stand with Obama.
And?
His name is Big Mick. That's what a lot of people say, but I actually
Oh.
don't believe that, any of that nonsense.
Okay.
Do you want to weigh in on this? Do you know who Gavin Newsom is? Obama? Trump?
I know.
Okay, well, answer.
Well, Biden is my last option.
Why is everyone talking about Biden? We're not-
Because you
It's
first brought up
Gavin
Biden.
Newsom. It's Obama. It's Trump. Who are you casting aside? Who are you having a one-night stand with? And who are you marrying for the rest of your life? La vida loca.
I will marry Trump. La vida loca. Gavinism.
Ooh. So Obama.
Obama, no.
¿Cómo se llama Obama? Say la vie.
No, Obama, nothing.
Okay.
I
All
can't.
right, but you guys are all marrying Trump. I don't know. You too. Not my type.
I'd marry Trump. I'd
Wow,
marry Trump.
interesting. So, goes to show, Stormy, who's a full-on porn star,
Yeah.
probably had no problem
Come on.
having some fun with Trump.
She knew she was going to get paid. Stop lying, Stormy.
Stop
you knew
lying.
you were going to get paid.
Okay.
You knew what you were doing. Just be
Well,
prideful in your work.
Thank you, ladies, because sometimes you need a lady's perspective. But Trump,
Who would you?
who would me? None of them. None of them.
no. Yeah.
Who I would,
Yeah.
no offense, Melania. Melania is gorgeous.
Props to
Melania
that
can
lady.
get it.
Props to
By
her.
the way, Trump has a secret weapon,
Which is?
and her name is Melania.
Yes.
Melania. A lot of people say, oh, Trump, she's going to divorce Trump after he loses 2020. She's done with him. She's still with him.
She's in it.
Oh, my gosh, she wants nothing to do with Trump. I can't believe she's still with him.
She's in it.
They have a kid named Barron together. This guy's 6'7", dunking on people, telling jokes. So, Melania, it's interesting. I was thinking about this because we talked about this on the PBD podcast. There was a song, a country song. I went to Tortuga not so long ago. We interviewed a bunch of ladies about what which kind of a man you're looking for, conservative man, liberal man, and there's a song by a lady called Tammy Wynette, and her famous song was called "Stand by Your." Not this one.
Divorce.
That's divorce. That's a different song. "Stand by Your Man."
Oh.
She had a song called "Stand by Your Man." That's actually a different. Yeah, "Stand by Your Man." Thank you. So this is what Melania is doing. It's funny. We can maybe make a divorce reference in a second. So she's standing by her man. Now let me explain this. Now Trump has had a couple divorces. If you want to show that as well. So you're on top of the ball. Sometimes you're too quick, Alejandra.
With the divorce.
So she did have a song called "Divorce." Go show that song. But Tammy Wynette, there's a lot that could be said here. Stand by your man. Melania is standing by her man, and there's no divorce in sight, although Trump has had 2 divorces in the past. So, by the way, Michael Cohen testified that Melania was the one that coined the phrase locker room talk. Hey, let's just locker room talk.
Yeah.
But Trump has been married 3 times. Here's a little food for thought. His first marriage, can we show the ladies that he's been married to? Do you have that image? So his first marriage on the left was to Ivana Trump. The second marriage in the middle was to Marla Maples. And the third marriage, as we all know, is to Melania Trump. Now, if we stay on the to Ivana for a second, they were married from 1977 to 1990. That's 13 years of marriage, and they have 3 kids. I think we have a picture of the kids. It's Don Jr.
Oh.
Scroll down. Don Jr., Eric at the bottom, and Ivanka Trump. Now Ivanka Kushner, married to Jared Kushner. That was his first marriage. That was his first family.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's a more recent photo of Ivana. She actually passed away a couple years ago. But 13 years for his first 3 kids. Great. Then, after they got divorced in 1990, he met a lady called Marla Maples. They got married in 1993. They stayed married for 6 years to 1999. They had 1 daughter called Tiffany. There's Marla Maples and Tiffany. You can show their head. It's fine. So 13 years with Ivana, 6 years with Tiffany. So 13 years, 3 kids, 6 years, Tiffany. Do you know how long that Trump has been married to Melania?
20.
They got married in 2005. It's 2004. They're about to have their what? 20-year anniversary. Stand by your man.
You go, girl.
You go,
Stand by
girl.
your man.
So there's a picture, I think. By the way, they have 1 kid together. We all know it's Barron Trump. Do you have the picture? Yes, look at them together. This was a few years ago when he was in the White House. Look how tall Barron was then.
Wow.
Insane. Tall guy, 6'7". Did you see the picture recently about less than a month ago when PBD went to Mar-a-Lago? Do we have that picture of how tall Barron is? Oh, my goodness. Okay. That's Barron Trump in the middle. By the way, PBD, we all know who he is.
Yes.
Legit 6'4".
Yeah.
Justin Waller, who's been on the show multiple times.
Yes.
Taller than PBD, legit 6'5". Colby Covington, who we just hung out with at my bar Bodega down in Miami, and we also
Yes.
hung out with him at Gala.
Mhm.
He's, I don't know, maybe an inch or two tall, shorter than me. He's probably 5'10".
Yeah.
And that's Barron Trump's best friend, who's a strong 5'6" in that picture. But Barron Trump, tall drink of water, that guy.
Yeah.
But, you know, for all the drama that's surrounding Trump's life, one can argue that his secret weapon has been Melania and his kids. So I'll leave you with this. We talked about Trump, court, what's going on, Michael Cohen, hush payments, Bill Maher, Stormy Daniels, everything that's going on. The common thread in all this has been Melania. And I'll never forget in 2016, in the election between Hillary and Trump, in one of the debates, they said, and I did this on the podcast before, say one nice thing about your opponent. And Trump said about Hillary, well, I'll tell you this about Hillary. She doesn't quit. She's a fighter.
Yeah.
And I respect that. You know, kind of think she's the worst. You obviously threw something in there. But I got to respect her fight.
Right.
You could take, you know, the dog out, the fight. You can't take the fight out the dog, that whole thing. But then they said, Hillary, what do you respect about Trump? Well, I respect the way he's raised his kids.
Yes.
So whether you like Trump or don't like Trump, Don Jr., businessman, classy guy. I think the second oldest is Ivanka. I mean, is there any more beautiful, classy woman than Ivanka? Forget about politics. I'm just saying how she acts.
Class.
Eric, I know he catches a lot of heat running the company. Tiffany, recently married, and now Barron. His kids turned out okay. He teaches them good values. He's basically said, don't smoke, don't drink, no drugs, no tattoos, nothing like that. Turned out okay. Now, you know, breaking news, Joe Biden's got a kid called Hunter Biden. Dude, I'd love to party with you, buddy.
Yikes.
But I'm not into crack these days because I'm, by the way, 22 days
Sober.
on 75 strong.
Yeah.
No drinking, no partying, no nothing.
Yeah.
So shout out to Donald Trump and shout out to Melania Trump for holding down the fort. Stand by your man. How's your
You go,
voice?
girl.
Sing it.
I don't
Sing
know.
it. Stand
by
Come on, Amy.
your man.
Sing it. Stand by.
I don't know the song actually.
Come on. All you have to say is three words.
Okay, stand by your man.
There it is, guys.
There you
Standing
go.
by your man. Shout out to Melania.
Shout out to Melania.
Okay.
She really
There it
keeps
is right
together.
there. Okay. Last story of the day.
Here we go.
Last story of the day. We just talked about. By the way, is there anything that we need to discuss before we get to the last story? Anything that we need? Any breaking news? Any updates? Anything we got to get going on?
Okay. I think you're good so far.
So thank you guys for being with us.
Yes.
Thank you for being part of the SOSCAST. I told you we've been all over the place today. Cancel culture, wokeness, jokes, comedy, politics. This is the happy ending, and it's a weird happy ending. But go with me on this for a second.
Okay.
Do you know that Trump and Hillary just agreed on something,
Oh.
and they don't agree on anything? We just talked about, you know, say one nice thing about your opponent. Trump said that Hillary, you know, works hard and she's got no quit. And Hillary said that Trump raised good kids. That's great. That they haven't agreed since something since 2016, since that debate, since the election. But they just agreed on something that in the present day, you'd be like, whoa, didn't see that one coming. And they agreed on what's going on in Israel and Gaza and these campus protests. Pretty interesting. Now, where are we going with this? Food for thought. Here's what Trump had to say at a recent rally about standing with Israel and supporting Israel's right to win, quote unquote, its war on terror. You know, despite everything that's going on there, and there's a lot of allegations and stories and right and wrong, Hamas is a terrorist organization. Okay, identified by the United States, Canada, the EU, and like-minded countries, democracies, liberal democracies, as a terrorist organization, funded by Iran, the great Satan that is known as the Islamic Republic of Iran, that sows more chaos than any country in the world, arguably. Iran. Here's what Trump had to say with a red "Make America Great Again" hat at a Trump rally. Go ahead.
Crooked Joe has not just set our economy on fire, he has truly set the world on fire. If you want to know how a weak and pathetic president really is, I mean, the things they do, just think about this. This week he announced that he will withhold shipping weapons to Israel as they fight to eradicate Hamas terrorists in Gaza. No, it's shocking to hear it. Even while there are still American hostages being held by Hamas. And they're saying, oh, October 7th never happened. You know, they say that. And Biden has fallen for it. Crooked Joe's action is one of the worst betrayals of an American ally in the history of our country. I support Israel's right to win its war on terror. Is that okay? I don't know. I don't know if that's good or bad politically. I don't care. You got to do what's right. It was a terrible attack. October 7th was a terrible attack.
So he said, I don't know if that's good or bad politically, but I don't care. Meanwhile, you have Joe Biden. You know, they say in the Bible, no one can serve two masters. Biden is trying to thread the needle here and ally with Israel, because it's not like he's meeting with Hamas people. He's meeting with Israel, but also sort of condemning what Netanyahu and Israel's doing, but also funding Israel, but also sending humanitarian aid into Gaza. They're building a port to get shipments in, but yet no U.S. troops on the ground. Which one is it? He's standing with Israel, but he's also trying to win Michigan. He's trying to win Minnesota. Those are strongholds of the Muslim community in Dearborn, Michigan. We've seen the chants in Dearborn, death to America, death to Israel, in Dearborn, Michigan, in America. Now, my family's from Detroit. I've been around this a little bit. My other family's actually, my mom's from Minnesota. That's where Chris and all of my other friends from. Rashida Tlaib from Michigan. Ilhan Omar from Minnesota. There's a big Somali community in Minnesota. They call it Lil Mogadishu. In Miami, we have Little Havana, que pasó? But in Minnesota, they got Little Mogadishu. And then in Dearborn, they got Lil Gaza hanging out in America. What's going on here? American values. But he said that Biden is not supporting Israel and he's not standing by their allies. Some of this is true. Some of it is hyperbole. But Trump is a salesman and he's a marketer, and he smells blood in the water. He's attacking he's tracking Biden where he's lacking. But you might say, okay, that's Trump. Okay, that's fine. What did Hillary have to say about these college protests? What did Hillary, who should be standing with Biden, you know, these protesters, Biden's been, you know, an ardent supporter of the protest movement. What's going on here? I know he said some things. He hasn't condemned it. You know, there's condemnation. Free speech is fine, but blocking Jews from going onto campus or blocking kids going onto campus, name another group you can do that to. Hey, you blacks aren't allowed on campus. What? Hey, you gays aren't allowed on campus. No way. Hey, you fat people aren't allowed on campus. Name another group. No way. Jews not allowed on campus? Yeah, it's fine. Is that good? Is that not good? By the way, what does a Jewish kid have to do, who's an American kid, have to do with a war in Israel, especially if you've never even been to Israel? That's like saying that if someone at the Vatican, the Pope, molests a kid or does something, that just because you're a Roman Catholic in New York, you're going to pay the price. It makes no sense to me.
Right.
So here's what Hillary Clinton had to say on MSNBC's Morning Joe with Joe Scarborough. She said the following. At 3:50 it starts. Go ahead.
Need to be vented about. First of all, I have had many conversations, as you have had, with a lot of young people over the last many months now. And you're right, they don't know very much at all about the history of the Middle East, or frankly about history in many areas of the world, including in our own country. But with respect to the Middle East...
And then she goes on to talking about the Middle East, about how under her husband's administration, Bill Clinton, they had something called the Oslo Accords. And Ehud Barak, who was the prime minister of Israel at the time, met with Yasser Arafat, who was the leader of the PLO, the Palestinian Liberation Organization. And she said it in the clip that Israel conceded 96% of what the Palestinians wanted. 96% of the territory they wanted. They said, look, we'll make a deal. Let's make a deal. Now, if you're trying to sell your home for $1 million, right? But you get $960,000 or zero, what are you taking?
Taking the 9.
You're taking the 960. So Israel said, listen, we're going to take 40 grand back, 4%, right? But we'll give you 960 grand for the house, 96% of you want. He shook their hand in D.C. He went back to the territory of Palestine. They said, absolutely not. We want 100% of the territory, no deal. then there was a war that started following that. So she said, you have to understand here, from the river to the sea, Palestine will be free, meaning they want all of it, meaning they want all the territory. So that's who you're negotiating with. So she's basically saying they don't know the history of what's going on there. Her husband was the president that tried to broker a peace deal between Israel and the Palestinians. And she said, quote unquote, if they would have done it, we would have peace today, but he messed up. Talking about Yasser Arafat, the leader of the PLO. Now, much like poker, just to use an analogy, if someone said, I'll give you $1 million to your house, listen, the best I can do is $960. I'll walk. Then you go back a few years ago, hey, I want $1 million for the house. Here's what I'm willing to give you. $500,000.
Oh.
Well, what do you mean? You gave me $960. Yeah, too bad.
Yeah.
$500,000.
Chance.
What do you say at that point? No, I still want my $1 million.
Yeah.
Too bad. $500,000. At this point right now, if the Palestinians went back to the Israelis and said, we want our $1 million, they're like, here's 10 grand, bro.
Yeah.
Take
Go
it or leave
home.
it.
Yeah.
No, we want the $1 million.
Too late.
Then get out of here.
Yeah.
So there's no bargaining chips. They have no power. They lost all their power in the negotiation. So that's what's going on here. So Hillary Clinton had some choice words for the young protesters, which we'll talk about. Before I show some of these clips with Greta Thunberg and some of these things, Amy, make some sense of what's going on. I'm not saying you to pick a side, but the protesters, we just did the debate with Rudy Rockman, the IDF soldier, and Aaron, our friend, sort of the progressive leftist, and I had them say nice things at the end. What was something that you learned in that debate? What's something that maybe, I didn't realize that's what's going on there?
I just really enjoyed hearing from Rudy's perspective, to be honest, because I think that he approached what is a delicate situation from a very kind of humble perspective. So I think that reached a lot of people, probably far more than what this divisive topic would usually accomplish when, reaching people. When it comes to these college campus protests, debates, everything that's going on there, I think the unfortunate part is that many of these people don't really know why they're fighting. They just want to fight,
You're saying about the campus protests?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, exactly. That's even evidenced by a lot of the videos. Those videos point blank of people going up to them and saying, hey, why are you here? What are you advocating for? And, they're either just point blank ignored, or in the case where the protesters are able to elicit some type of response, they say something along the lines of, I don't know, I'm just here to support. So I think it's just, young people wanting to rally together, rally behind a movement, and, it's a little bit misguided. In fact, it's a bit misguided, completely misguided. And I think that they're missing the mark in a lot of ways. Yeah,
and at the crux of it is thinking that this critical race theory, we've heard about this, so these buzzwords, critical race theory and intersectionality and decolonialization and the oppressor and the oppressed and, the white man and the victim. What's interesting about Rudy is that his family is from Morocco and that he's what is known as Sephardic Jewish. So, people say, oh, the white Jews are taking over. He's a brown dude. So half of Israel is actually brown people that look like Nat, right, with that good tan, and half of Jews look kind of like me. Oh. It's a white dude. We out here.
We like the white
But
boys.
that's because there's something called Ashkenazi Jews who basically, after they were expelled from Judea, ended up in Europe. And, white people are kind of in Europe over thousands of years. And then the darker people, the Sephardim, ended up in northern Africa. Egypt, Morocco, Ethiopia. And then the further south you go in Africa, they say, once you go black, you're going to go back. Right. Rudy's actually doing a documentary on the lost tribes of Israel. And a lot of them are in Nigeria, in Zambia, because people get the Middle East is just north of Africa. So very interesting. But emotions run high. A lot of people don't know what the hell they're doing. One of the people, the poster child for just yelling about things but not having any data, clue, or anything that's going on is someone named Greta Thunberg.
Oh, yeah.
We've seen her, little old Hansel and Gretel. She's been talking about global warming and we're ruining the earth, but she's not like she's studied this. It's not like she knows anything about this. She's a climate activist. She went down, if you can scroll down, and she was protesting on behalf of the Palestine will be free. There she is wearing the scarf, the kafifi, doing her thing. Do you think she knows about what's going on in the Middle East? Keep scrolling down. Do you think she knows about the history of Israel and Palestine? Does she think she knows about the 1948 borders and what's going on with terrorism and everything like that? Do you know if she actually didn't wear her headscarf in Gaza or in Iran or in Afghanistan, they would literally behead her? Does she know this? No. But she's, you know, if you're young and you're not a liberal and you're not a woke progressive, you have no heart. But as you get older, if you're not a conservative and using your mind, you have no brain.
She's just
so
cashing
that's
out.
Greta Thunberg. Meanwhile, you got UNC Chapel Hill. They're basically saying, yeah, we're going to do the exact opposite because we're pro-America. Here's what they did. UNC Chapel Hill board votes to dismantle DEI programs and use the funds on campus police to help campus police quell a lot of these anti-Israel protests on campus.
Nice.
So there's also videos of the Queers for Palestine group blocking the entrance to Disney World. And I would argue that they're doing more to hurt their cause than to help their cause. If we have this video, we can show this, and then we'll wrap up. So here's the video in 1.5 speed of them blocking Disney World, where families try to have a good time. Go ahead, play this.
Free Palestine!
We'll read them.
No, well, I know.
Free Palestine! Free Palestine! Free Palestine!
But, okay, they're screaming, that's great, but listen to what he had to say.
You actually are losing people. You are losing people to your cause because of this.
You get out of the
Okay?
road. 45,000
You
dead.
are losing
45,000 dead.
People
45,000 dead.
now.
Genocide
Yes, you
sympathizer.
are. Because
Genocide
you guys do this
sympathizer.
now.
Free Palestine. Free Palestine.
Okay, so there's 45,000. Listen, nobody wants people dead, but they forget that half of the people allegedly that are dead in this conflict are actually
terrorists.
the Hamas soldiers, the terrorists.
Yeah.
And then they talked about the women and the children that have been killed as if women can't be terrorists or harbor terrorists. They also count, nobody wants to see dead babies, but they're also counting 17-year-olds and 16-year-olds as children, as if we saw when in Australia, when the 16-year-old kid shouted Allah Akbar and tried to kill Bishop Maher, he was 16. Should he not be tried as an adult for trying to commit murder? But we talked about what Trump had to say. We talked about what Hillary had to say. We talked about what Biden's doing. And here's where I think Biden is missing the mark. On Bill Maher, who we talked about on the show earlier, he said Gen Z's most important issues. You would think this is number one. This is number one. Gen Z's most important issue is inflation. Number 2 is healthcare. Number 3 is housing. Number 4 is gun violence. Number 5 is jobs. Number 6 is corruption. Number 7 is protecting democracy. Do you have the rest of the list? Here's the rest of the list. 11, crime. 12, climate change. 13, taxes. 14, free speech. 15, Israel-Palestine at 34%. The bottom, student loan debt, not a big deal because they're in college, a lot of them, so they understand what's going on here. So this isn't a big issue, but the media is making this the number one issue amongst all Gen Z college kids. So how big of an issue is this? So I'll leave you with this. You know, they say a picture says 1,000 words. Let me show you what the visual capitalist did and when they talked about the conflicts that are going around the world. Some of the questions that I asked Aaron or some of the questions that I've seen trending is, okay, you're calling for free Palestine. Great. Why? Because you're anti-war. I get it. Nobody wants war. Real quick, what other anti-war protests have you gone to? What other anti-war stances have you taken? What else? What other wars are you against? Oh, is this the only one? Interesting. Because there's a lot of wars and conflicts going on all around the world. Do you have that image from the visual capitalist? Punch in a little bit or punch out if you can. Here are all the wars. Go to the top. So here are territorial disputes. Russia, Ukraine, ever heard of it? The Karabakh, that's Armenia and Azerbaijan. There's the Kurds and the Turks. There's Israel and Palestine. Keep scrolling down. There's a civil war in Afghanistan after we left. There's a Syrian civil war. There's instability in Iraq after we left. There's a Yemen civil war. That's the Houthis that have killed people in hundreds of thousands. Libyan civil war. Millions of people have been killed in Sudan. Millions. So you're anti-war. What's going on? I thought you were anti-war. Why aren't you advocating for freedom and peace in Sudan? By the way, it's not just in the Middle East. It's all over Northern Africa. It's in Mali. But even on our side of the world, if you're like, okay, even Sudan, everything that's going on there, horrible. See if there's another side of the globe over there. In Mexico right now, there's gang warfare like crazy. Mexico is actually one of the unsafest place to be. Venezuela is the least safe, most corrupt country in the Western Hemisphere. Not a peep. Nothing's going on here. Dozens of political dissidents were killed in Mexico yesterday because they don't agree with the government. Killed. But why are the campus protests about this one war? It makes me wonder. So that's what's going on. So do I think these kids' hearts are in the right places? Yes. But have they been infected by the woke mind virus? Absolutely yes. And we'll leave it there. So amazing show. Amy, Nat. We got to wrap up right now. I think we have a couple super chats we want to get to.
I've got a few.
Go ahead.
We've got this one from Gorilla Blanco. Amy Dangerfield, keep bringing the base Australian takes.
Ooh.
Then we have Adventures of Oreo. I can't stand the Dutch. And then we have another one, Eros. Oh, better read super chats this time. Amy out here promoting. Adam, don't flop. Just plain. Love y'all.
All good. We can take the hate. We can take the criticism. We love the flowers. We love the praise. Just like Vivek, which we talked about at the beginning of the show. It's important for you guys to have thick skin. Life is a struggle. It's not easy. What did Buddha have to say? That life is what is it?
Suffering.
Life is suffering.
And he says
Things are not
enlightenment
easy.
is the lack of suffering, which
There
is
you
interesting.
go.
Negative definition.
There you go. And then Nietzsche had to say that to live is to suffer, to survive is to find some meaning in the suffering. So shout out to Vivek. Shout out to Melania Trump. Those are probably two MVPs of the show. The third MVP of the show is you guys for sticking with us this entire show. By the way, thank you for doing the super chats. We're going to be doing more of those. Get ready to super chat a little bit more because Thursday, big announcement, we're going to do some old school SOSCAST, red pill manosphere relationship content because the one and only Rollo Tomasi's coming back.
The rational
with
male.
The rational male with the one and only
Michael
Sartain, the G, the homie, and a panel of how many ladies?
Should I
A bunch
say?
of ladies.
A bunch of ladies.
So this is going to be an old school relationship panel. Again,
Should be
we're
fun.
talking culture. We're talking politics. We're talking finance. We're talking romance. We do it all here at Valuetainment on the SOSCAST. But this Thursday, stay tuned because it's the return of the rational male, Rollo Tomasi, and Axis Vegas finest, Michael Sartain. Thank you guys for being here. Sub to the channel. Like the video. We'll see you guys Thursday, 4 p.m. We out.
It's the SOSCAST, baby.
I'm glad we did.